Our panelist, Lord Meghnath Desai, you give this a 4 on 10, this particular budget. What is
it's
disappointing?
It's kindness that I gave it 4 out of 10. This is a failed budget. Pranab Mukherjee has not addressed the fiscal crisis. He has not really tackled the growth challenge. And I think his estimate of 5.1% as deficit is not credible, and it will be exceeded. It will be 6%, and growth will be less than 7.6%.
Even more disappointed than you is Subhashish Gangapathy. You actually gave it 1 on 10. Can you tell me why?
Well, part of the disappointment is because I had great hopes for this budget, right? But if I look at it objectively, there are two things, as Lord Desai said, there are two things that needed to be tackled. One was the fiscal deficit, and the other was a growth impetus. Right? In neither is there any thinking on how to get there. Right? I want to know why, when the budget deficit went up from an estimated 4.6 to 5.9, why is it 5.1? Why isn't it higher? Why isn't it lower? There has to be some thinking in the budget other than a purely accounting thing. I'm expecting growth to be so much. I'm giving these SOPs.
This is tinkering.
Yeah, this is tinkering. This is like an accountant's budget.
Will this not be questioned? I mean, when foreign international markets, players, experts look at this budget, will this not be questioned?
Well, there is nothing adding to the India growth story at all. The growth story which has been falling, there's nothing that has been added to it. Why will foreign investors look at India? Why will Indian domestic investors look at India to up their investments? That's the first point in this budget. It doesn't do anything to give impetus. But just look at the political backdrop, and that's where we began the discussion on this budget from. The political backdrop was they've tested the waters with Dinesh Trivedi. Could he do a Dinesh Trivedi? Well, he's decided against it. Mamata Banerjee's numbers may be made up by Samajwadi Party, but it's not a risk the government is willing to take at this stage. So it's a play-safe budget. I think I'd put my bets on a play-safe budget. It's just far too safe, and absolutely no thumping of desks, no booze, which means that he's just gone on a workman budget. He's just kept to the target.
What happened on subsidies on the budget? What's the story there, Navika? They all stay. They've accommodated food subsidies.
They all stay. There's
Haven't put a number to it.
Nothing been. It's about 1 lakh crore, and it will just go up with the provisioning on the food security bill that he has promised to put in. But the important part is he has not given bonds to the oil marketing companies to repay the subsidies to them. He said he'll give it in cash. So there is a cash provisioning within the budget. So to that extent, maybe he's taken care of the oil companies.
Dasgupta, what has he failed to do, really?
Well, the only people who will be satisfied with this budget will be the car parking attendants. He is exempted from the service tax. But apart from that, what he's done is he's made sure that there isn't another political front which has been opened with the budget. So it's not only playing safe, it is actually opting out of a battle.
Absolutely.
He's just opted out. He's also kept a remarkably straight face, for which you must give him some marks, some credit, because you cannot keep a straight face.
Why has he done this?
He has done this partly because he was an astute politician who knows the who was aware of the vulnerability of the government, and chose at this moment that their priority is survival, and survival means to hell with the big India story, to hell with the vision, just go in for a plodder's account. And that's what it is. He's de-glamorized it, and in the process, and I think this is where the economists are going to be outraged, he's also de-sanctified the budget, because some of those numbers are not believable.
Absolutely.
And that, to my mind, is the most serious issue.
Yeah,
that he's really de-sanctified the budget. Those figures are going to be.
So let's
and if you're looking for the personal good news, I mean, raising exemption limits by just 20,000 rupees actually belies the hopes that individuals would have
but at the same time,
this budget.
He's made the necessary genuflection to the controlling authority of his party. He's added in a scheme for the Rajiv Gandhi equity scheme, and he's conceded in principle to the food security bill.
I want to list out of what he has missed out. Give me the 3 big items, Lord Desai. What are the 3 big items he's missed out on?
He has not tackled the deficit. He has not addressed the issue of inflation, which will persist. And, as was Subhash said, he has done nothing to revive growth. He's done absolutely nothing.
Do you find it surprising that there are no specific schemes here to really boost industry either?
No.
Are there any?
No,
Did I miss something,
there are
Subhashish?
none, you know, I mean,
Well, no, hopefully that will play out. He has done something for infrastructure. Right?
Infrastructure,
He's
yeah.
made some commitment to that. So
Infrastructure.
hopefully that will play out. And therefore there would be some boost to the economy. But beyond that, I don't see. The thing is that many of the schemes that he mentioned, which we had already forgotten about, right? So it's the same old story. We are going back to 20, 30 years ago. Not 20, sorry, 30 years ago, when we used to list all these things and increase expenditure by 5%, reduce that by 2%. It was all a list of those items.
Excise duty going up, clearly that
That
means
was expected.
across the board things will get more expensive, and that's what impacts the common man really. So that's
So he
at
gave you
least one
20,000
issue.
rupees
There
for
is
that.
there is a little bit of support that he's offered to give the aviation sector, but what he
Which is
has
Air
done,
India. Which is Air India.
no, I mean
Well,
today
he's saying sector, but you cannot really, you know very well that he cannot give it to any other private airline.
But
So it's
working
basically
capital,
it's a working
provisions,
capital
maybe
for Air
banks
India.
will need to look at the Kingfishers and the Jet Airways once again.
You think taxpayers, you think people will sit idle if taxpayers' money is put into Kingfisher?
yeah.
Then Jet will say, why not us? Then
Or
someone
the
else will
direct
say, why
import
not
of
us?
aviation fuel. So to some extent,
Yeah.
that sector has been
So if he's
looked at.
giving it in the form of aviation fuel, we don't know whether it's going to be direct subsidies to Air India.
But
It's going to be
I think
of them.
Lord Desai, one thing that he has
20,000,
done is he's put customs duty on gold bars import, which means savings. Is that an indication which way savings in this country should go? Is he giving a direction, and has he been able to give the full direction?
Well, he said, okay, maybe put it in the equity, we'll give you an incentive, don't put it in gold. But, again, it's very mealy-mouthed, it's very kind of small thing. I mean, he raises income tax limit just about indexing it. 20,000 on 180 is just about keeping in touch with inflation. So there is no improvement.
So it's a completely status quoist budget.
So status quo budget is a do-nothing budget.
Nothing big ticket about it.
Yeah,
Nothing
yeah.
big ticket
I
about
think,
it.
Yeah.
The big headlines are there is not a single big announcement in
He
this.
doesn't even move towards GTC, he doesn't even move towards GST. So his own promises, one doesn't see it unfurling. And, growth apart, even the poverty story, I think he's just put the headlines out. He said food security by December 2012, which is a good 6 months away. And in December 2012, if the expected date is not kept, there's no questioning. We'll see him back only in March. So there's no allocation for it.
August 2012, I think.
August,
is the,
yeah.
August 2012, you'll be 7 months or 8 months away from an election.
2012 further.
On the-
I'd like to get a sense of Kiran Majumdar Shaw of Biocon. She's joining us, Chairman and Managing Director of Biocon from Bangalore. And not many people, good afternoon, no, not people here don't seem to be too enthusiastic about this budget. Can you give us a big picture assessment of what you think this budget will do, given the challenges the economy is facing? Are you disappointed?
Well, I think I tweeted this morning that my expectations were very low, given the constraints that the government is having in terms of dealing with its coalition partners. And I think they've had to appease every section of the social strata, and that's exactly what the finance minister has done. This is a token budget. There is a lot of tokenism in every single announcement that he's made. No bold policies, only indications that they would have liked to have done certain things. They've appeased corporate sector by not really, tampering with too much of the taxation aspects, but I'm concerned that indirect taxes are going to be affected. There is going to be an impact on inflation because of the 2% increase in service tax and in excise duty. So, no surprises. I'm not really sort of expecting anything more. No bold decisions.
Am I fair in assessing? Am I fair in assessing? And I want to spark off the debate on this big issue. Therefore, that Kiran Majumdar, please stay on with us. I want to draw in Swapan Dasgupta as well into this. That am I right in saying today that this government, distracted by Anna Hazare, beaten by corruption scandals, hit by political instability, looking underconfident and unsure, has not really applied its mind on making this budget anything that takes the country forward in terms of historical progress of the economy? Is it a distracted government's budget?
It's a full application of mind.
Full application of
It's a
mind.
full application of mind, and its full application told them that at the moment the most prudent course is to do nothing. Now that's a very cynical view, but it's a cynical political survival strategy. And
But
that's what this is the signature tune of
No,
this budget.
so does this indicate the big ticket items, other decisions will be taken quietly behind closed doors? You know, you don't need to, they've learned the lesson of what happened in the winter session of parliament. You don't need to talk about FDI in
That
detail.
is the charitable explanation. That would be the charitable explanation.
Generous explanation.
Yes, that would
Because
be-
there is a mention of financial sector reforms, the banking sector, FDI in aviation. There is a mention of all of those reforms in the budget, and they've said that they'll bring in those bills in this
Yeah.
current session. Whether that happens or not, or whether we're going to be cynical about the
okay.
government.
Just one, just hold on that.
Kiran Majumdar, sure, yes ma'am.
Finance Minister.
Yes, I completely agree. I think the government is helpless. They were playing a very cautious role. But one of the things I would have expected, you know, even if they can't, boldly state that they will allow FDI in the retail sector, they could have gone ahead with FDI in aviation. Nobody would have objected to that. So I really think for some reason they are not, wanting to take any kind of strong measures in changing anything at the moment. It's status quo.
No, because they don't even want the slightest noise from the opposition benches. They don't even want the left, which really has no stake in government, to raise a little bit of a noise.
Or no,
They
more
don't-
likely,
they don't want to take a chance with the unions.
more likely they're not looking at the opposition benches, they're looking at their own allies. They don't want noises from their allies at this stage. It's more than they can handle at this stage.
So